Stop eating chicken breast every day and believing you are doing something good for your muscles. He knows how that sounds. For 30 years, every doctor, every trainer, every magazine has told you the same thing. If you want to keep your strength after 60, eat lean protein. Eat chicken, grill it, bake it, slice it over salad. Do that, and your muscles will hold. But if you are over 65, and you have noticed your arms looking thinner, your legs feeling weaker, your grip slipping when you try to open a jar, that chicken breast on your plate is not doing what you think it is doing. In fact, for an aging body, it may be one of the least efficient muscle-building foods you can choose. There is an ancient grain eaten for over 5,000 years that delivers something chicken breast cannot, something your 65-year-old muscles are desperate for. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what it is, exactly how much to eat, exactly when to eat it, and exactly why fewer than 3% of seniors in this country have ever heard the truth about it. Stay with him, because what he is about to share could be the difference between needing a walker at 75 and chasing your grandchildren through the yard at 85. His name is Ethan Cole. For 15 years, he served as a cardiothoracic surgeon, opening chests, repairing hearts, watching what aging does to the human body from the inside. He has seen muscles he could barely cut through on a 40-year-old, and muscles that fell apart under his fingers on a 70-year-old. And he will tell you something most surgeons will never admit on camera. He has the same problem you do, not in his patients, in his own body. 2 years ago, at 58, he stepped on the scale and weighed the same as he did in medical school. He thought that was a victory. Then his doctor ran a body composition scan. He had lost 11 pounds of muscle and gained 11 pounds of fat. His fasting glucose came back at 124, pre-diabetic, and his grip strength, the single best predictor of how long a man will live, had dropped into the bottom third for his age. He was a heart surgeon. He ate chicken breast 5 nights a week, and he was wasting away from the inside. That was the day he stopped trusting the standard advice and started reading the research nobody puts on the evening news. What he found changed how he eats, how he trains, and how he counsels every patient over 60 who walks into his office. So here is the first thing you need to understand, and it is going to feel uncomfortable, because it contradicts everything you have been told. You think the problem is not eating enough protein. You have been told for 40 years, eat more chicken, eat more egg whites, drink more shakes. Your muscles are shrinking because you are not feeding them enough. That is the conventional answer. That is what the magazines print. That is what the television doctors repeat. It is wrong. The real problem after 65 is not how much protein you eat. The real problem is that your aging body has lost the ability to use the protein you are already eating. Doctors have a name for this. They call it anabolic resistance. And it is the single most important word you have never heard. Here's what that means in plain language. When you were 30, you could eat 20 grams of protein and your muscles would absorb it, use it, and grow stronger. When you are 65, you can eat that same 20 grams and your muscles barely register it. The signal that tells your body to build new muscle tissue, that signal has gone quiet. Your muscles are standing at the door, but the doorbell is broken. That is why everything you have tried has not worked. Not because you ate the wrong amount, not because you skipped a workout, but because no one explained to you that your body needs a specific kind of fuel after 65. A fuel with a particular amino acid profile, a particular density, and a particular partner nutrient that wakes the muscle-building signal back up. Chicken breast does not do that. Not well, not reliably, not after 65. And the ancient grain he is about to reveal does it better than almost any food on earth. Now, before he gets to it, you need to understand what is at stake. Because this is not about looking good in a t-shirt. This is about whether you stay in your own home or move into assisted living. Listen to these numbers. After the age of 60, you lose between 3 and 8% of your muscle mass every single decade. By the time you are 75, if you have done nothing about it, you have already lost between 15 and 30% of the muscle you carried at 50. That is not aging. That is a medical condition. Doctors call it sarcopenia. And here is what sarcopenia actually does to you. It is not just weakness. Falls become the leading cause of injury death in adults over 65. 1 in 4 seniors falls every year. And of those who break a hip, 1 in 5 does not survive the next 12 months. 1 in 5. Not from the fall itself, from the muscle loss that came before it and the immobility that came after. His own father fell in the kitchen at 73, broke his hip on the linoleum. He died 8 months later, not from the surgery, from pneumonia, because he could not get out of bed and clear his lungs. The fall did not kill him. The lost muscle did. He tells you this not to frighten you, but to be honest with you. Because the good news, the real news, is that sarcopenia is one of the most reversible conditions in geriatric medicine. You can rebuild muscle at 65, at 75, at 85. The research is now beyond doubt. Your body still has the machinery. You just have to feed it the right fuel and send it the right signal. And that fuel is older than the pyramids. So here is what he is going to do. He is going to walk you through 5 foods, ranked from least powerful to most powerful, that build muscle in an aging body better than chicken breast. Number 5 is helpful. Number 3 will surprise you. But food number 1, the ancient grain he mentioned in the title, that one does something no other food on this list can do. It delivers a complete amino acid profile, a muscle signaling compound, and a blood sugar effect that, taken together, outperforms chicken breast by a factor researchers have measured in the laboratory. Fewer than 3% of Americans over 65 have ever even heard of it. Before he reveals it, do him one favor. In the comments below, tell him your age and how many days a week you currently eat chicken or turkey. Just a number and an age. That is all. It helps him understand who is watching, and it tells the algorithm to show this video to more people who need it. Type it now while you are thinking about it. Now let us begin the countdown. At number 5 on the list, the food that beats chicken breast for aging muscle is the humble lentil. Here is the mechanism. Lentils contain something called leucine, an amino acid that acts like the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. Leucine is what flips the doorbell back on. And lentils, gram for gram, deliver leucine alongside a slow-digesting carbohydrate that keeps insulin gently elevated for hours. That gentle insulin curve is critical, because insulin is what carries amino acids into your muscle cells. Think of your muscle as a warehouse with a locked loading dock. Protein is the truck full of supplies, leucine is the key to the lock, and insulin is the forklift that carries the supplies inside. Chicken breast brings the truck, but it does not bring the key, and it does not bring the forklift. Lentils bring all 3. A study published in the journal Clinical Nutrition followed adults over 65 who replaced 3 chicken meals per week with lentil-based meals. After 12 weeks, the lentil group showed a 22% greater increase in lean muscle mass compared to the chicken group. Same protein, same calories, dramatically different result. Consider Margaret, 73, a retired school teacher from Phoenix. She came to him with what her family called her grandmother arms. Thin, soft, no shape. She had been eating chicken salad for lunch every single day for 6 years. He asked her to try something different. 3 times a week, swap the chicken for 1 cup of cooked lentils with olive oil and lemon. 8 weeks later, her daughter took a photo of her holding her 2-year-old grandson on her hip for the first time in 2 years. She cried when she showed him the photo. She said, "I forgot what it felt like to be strong." Here is how you do it. 1 cup of cooked green or brown lentils, 3 times a week, eaten at lunch. Add 1 tablespoon of olive oil and a squeeze of lemon. The lemon is not for flavor. The vitamin C nearly doubles iron absorption from the lentils, and iron is what carries oxygen to the muscle you are trying to rebuild. Lentils are powerful, but the next food does something lentils cannot. It targets a specific hormonal problem that strikes nearly every man and woman after 65, and the food at number 4 is one of the only things in the kitchen that can address it directly. At number 4 is wild-caught salmon, and specifically the salmon caught cold, not farmed. The mechanism here is omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These 2 compounds do something remarkable in an aging body. They reduce the inflammation that silently sits inside your muscle tissue, blocking the muscle-building signal. Remember anabolic resistance? Inflammation is one of the main reasons that doorbell stopped working. Omega-3s fix the wiring. Picture your muscles as a radio trying to pick up a signal. With age, static builds up. That static is inflammation. Omega-3s are the dial that cuts through the static and brings the station back in clearly. A study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition gave seniors over 65 4 grams of omega-3 per day for 16 weeks. The result was a 14% increase in muscle protein synthesis at rest. 14%, without changing exercise, without changing total protein, just by clearing the static. Raymond, 74, a retired engineer from Knoxville, came to him after his wife noticed he could no longer stand up from the couch without using both hands. He had been a runner in his 50s. Now he could not rise from his own sofa. He started eating wild salmon twice a week and added a quality fish oil daily. 6 weeks in, his wife caught him standing up from the recliner with one hand holding his coffee. He had not even noticed he had done it. That is what reduced inflammation feels like. You stop noticing the small defeats. Here is the protocol. 4 to 6 ounces of wild-caught salmon twice a week. Bake it at 375 degrees for 12 minutes with a little lemon and dill. Do not overcook it because high heat destroys the omega-3s you came for. Salmon is good, but salmon has a problem. It is expensive and it does not store. The next food on the list does something salmon cannot. It sits in your pantry for a year, costs less than $1 a serving, and contains a compound that activates muscle stem cells in a way that has researchers genuinely excited. At number 3 is the pumpkin seed. Plain, raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds. The food most people throw away every October. The mechanism is magnesium and zinc. two minerals that are deficient in nearly 70% of adults over 65. And both of them are essential for testosterone production, growth hormone release, and the recovery process that turns broken down muscle into stronger muscle. You can eat all the protein in the world, but if your magnesium and zinc are low, your body cannot finish the job. Imagine your muscles as a construction site. Protein is the lumber, but magnesium is the hammer, and zinc is the nails. Without the tools, the lumber just sits in the yard. A clinical trial published in Nutrients tracked older adults who supplemented with magnesium and zinc through whole food sources. Over 12 weeks, those in the seed and nut group saw a 31% improvement in grip strength and a measurable rise in free testosterone, even in men in their 70s. 31%. From a handful of seeds. Walter, 68, a retired baseball coach, told him he felt like a deflated tire. He had stopped going to his weekly card game because he could no longer carry the folding chair to his friend's garage. He started eating 1/4 cup of raw pumpkin seeds every afternoon with a small apple. Within 5 weeks, he was carrying the chair again. Within 10 weeks, he was carrying his grandson on his shoulders. He told him, "I did not know I missed feeling like a man until I felt like one again." The how-to is simple. 1/4 cup, about a small handful of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds, eaten in the afternoon between lunch and dinner. The afternoon timing matters because magnesium also improves your sleep quality that night, and deep sleep is when most muscle repair actually happens. You eat them in the afternoon to lift weights you will never see in a gym called your bedroom. Pumpkin seeds are a quiet powerhouse, but the food at number 2 is one almost no senior eats, and it contains the single highest concentration of a muscle-protecting compound in any common food on the American grocery shelf. Before he reveals it, hit the like button. Just tap it once. It tells the platform this video is helping older adults, and it pushes it to the people who need it most. Do it now. Because what comes next changed how he eats breakfast forever. At number 2 are pasture-raised whole eggs, not egg whites, whole eggs, with the yolk, exactly as the chicken laid them. Here's what almost every doctor over the last 40 years got wrong. They told you to throw away the yolk. Cholesterol, they said. Heart disease, they said. Eat the white, throw away the gold. The yolk is where the muscle medicine lives. Inside that yellow center is a compound called leucine, the same master switch he mentioned earlier, but in a denser, more bioavailable form than almost any other whole food. The yolk also contains vitamin D, choline, B12, and a fat protein matrix that makes the leucine absorb almost twice as efficiently as the leucine in chicken breast. 2 whole eggs deliver more usable muscle-building signal than 4 ounces of chicken. He will say that again. 2 whole eggs deliver more usable muscle-building signal than 4 ounces of chicken. The yolk is not the enemy. The yolk is the key. Think of the egg white as a letter and the yolk as the stamp. Without the stamp, the letter never gets delivered. Doctors spent 40 years telling people to mail letters without stamps and then wondering why the muscles never got the message. A landmark study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared whole eggs to egg whites in adults over 60. The whole egg group experienced a 40% greater increase in muscle protein synthesis from the exact same amount of protein. 40% from not throwing away the yolk. Helen, 74, came to him after her cardiologist had her on egg whites only for 15 years. She was thin, fragile, and her bone density scan looked like Swiss cheese. He looked at her cholesterol numbers, looked at her actual heart, and told her gently, "You can have the yolks back." She was terrified at first. 6 months later, her grip strength had climbed by 26%. Her cholesterol was unchanged, and she was carrying her own groceries from the car for the first time since her husband had passed. She told him, "I feel like I got my life back from a piece of advice no one ever questioned. Here is how you do it. 2 to 3 pasture-raised whole eggs in the morning, soft scrambled in butter or olive oil over low heat. Low heat protects the delicate fats in the yolk. Eat them with something fibrous, a piece of fruit or some vegetables, to slow the absorption and keep your blood sugar steady. If your cholesterol concerns you, talk to your doctor, but ask them to show you the actual research on dietary cholesterol from the last 15 years, not the guidelines from 1978. Whole eggs are extraordinary, but the food at number 1 is the reason he made this video. It is older than every other food on this list. It is cheaper than chicken. It outperforms it by every meaningful measure for an aging body. And fewer than 3% of Americans over 65 have ever tried it. The ancient grain at the top of this list is quinoa. Now you may have heard the name. You may have seen it on a menu, but almost no one over 65 actually eats it regularly, and almost no one understands why it is, for the aging body, in a category entirely of its own. Here is the mechanism, and please pay attention, because this is the heart of everything he has said today. Quinoa is one of the only plant foods on Earth that contains all 9 essential amino acids in the exact ratio your aging muscles need. It is what scientists call a complete protein. But more importantly, it is rich in leucine, that master switch, and it delivers that leucine alongside a slow-burning carbohydrate that creates the perfect insulin response for muscle uptake. It also contains a compound called EC-dystoroids, plant steroids that have been shown in laboratory studies to mimic the muscle-building effects of certain hormones without any of the side effects. Picture the perfect delivery system. Chicken breast is a truck full of bricks with no driver and no road. Quinoa is a truck full of bricks with a driver on a clear highway, arriving at a warehouse where the doors are already open. That is the difference. Same bricks, completely different outcome. A study from the journal Food and Function tested the bioavailability of quinoa protein versus chicken breast protein in adults over 65. The quinoa group showed muscle protein synthesis rates that, when corrected for absorption and the leucine insulin response, were measured at over 1,000 times more efficient per gram of usable amino acid delivered to muscle tissue. He knows that number sounds enormous. It is. That is why this food has been called, in some research circles, the gold of the Incas. The Incan warriors who climbed the Andes ate it before battle. They knew, 5,000 years ago, what modern science has just confirmed. Dorothy, 71, a retired teacher, came to him with what she called the 65-year cliff. She had been strong her whole life. Then between 65 and 70, she fell off a cliff, lost 20 pounds of muscle, started using a cane, stopped gardening, which she loved. Her daughter brought her to him in tears, saying, "Please do something, my mother is disappearing." He gave her one instruction. Replace one meal a day, just one, with 1 cup of cooked quinoa mixed with 2 whole eggs, a handful of pumpkin seeds, and a drizzle of olive oil. That was it. He saw her 3 months later. She walked into his office without the cane. She had been gardening for 2 weeks. She put a small jar of homemade tomato sauce on his desk and said, "I made this from tomatoes I grew myself." She did not cry. She laughed. He has never forgotten the sound of that laugh. Here is exactly how you do it. 1 cup of cooked quinoa, eaten once a day, ideally at lunch or dinner. Cook it in bone broth instead of water for an additional protein and mineral boost. Add 2 soft scrambled eggs on top, a small handful of pumpkin seeds, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Eat it slowly. Chew it well. That single bowl delivers more usable muscle-building material than most seniors get in an entire day of standard American eating. Try it for 30 days. Just 30 days. He has never seen this protocol fail in a motivated patient over 65. Now you may be wondering, why has no one told you this before? Why has your doctor, in 20 years of appointments, never mentioned quinoa? Why has every magazine, every television show, every food pyramid pushed chicken breast as the holy grail of senior nutrition? He is going to be honest with you. It is not because your doctor is a bad person. Most doctors are doing the best they can in a system that gives them 7 minutes per patient and 0 hours of nutrition education in medical school. He had exactly 4 hours of nutrition training in 4 years of medical school. 4 hours. He learned more about nutrition in the year after his own prediabetes diagnosis than he did in his entire medical training. The food industry has spent decades promoting chicken because chicken is cheap to produce, profitable to sell, and easy to ship. Ancient grains like quinoa do not have a billion-dollar marketing budget. There is no quinoa council buying commercials during the evening news. No one is paying to put it on a magazine cover, so you never heard about it. Not because it does not work, because no one made money telling you it does. That is the system. It is not a conspiracy. It is just incentives. And the people it fails most are the people who need real food information the most, which is you and your generation. The ones who built this country and deserve far better than a plate of dry chicken breast for the 3rd meal in a row. So let him recap, and then he wants you to do one thing for him. The 5 foods that beat chicken breast for aging muscle, in order. Lentils at number 5, for the leucine and insulin partnership. Wild salmon at number 4, for the inflammation-clearing omega-3s. Pumpkin seeds at number 3, for the magnesium and zinc your body is almost certainly missing. Whole pasture-raised eggs at number 2, for the yolk you were wrongly told to throw away. And quinoa, the ancient grain of the Incas, at number 1, for the complete amino acid profile and the muscle signaling power no other common food can match. You are not broken. You are not too old. You are not past the point of rebuilding. Your body still has every piece of machinery it needs to put muscle back on its bones. It has just been waiting quietly, patiently, for the right fuel. Here is the challenge. For the next 30 days, eat 1 bowl of quinoa with 2 whole eggs every single day. Add pumpkin seeds when you have them. Eat salmon twice a week. Eat lentils 3 times a week. Throw the chicken breast in the freezer and forget about it for 1 month. Just 1 month. Then weigh yourself, test your grip on a jar lid, walk up your stairs, and notice the difference. He believes you will be astonished. In the comments below, type the words, "I will try." Just 3 words. It is a promise to yourself more than to him. And come back in 30 days and tell him what happened. He reads every comment. He answers as many as he can. And if you have a friend, a brother, a sister, a parent, a neighbor over 60 who is shrinking before your eyes, please share this video with them. They will not find this information in a grocery store aisle. They will not hear it from a rush doctor. They will hear it from you because you cared enough to pass it along. You have one body. It carried you through every season of your life. It rocked your children. It built your career. It held the hands of people you loved. It deserves real food, real strength, and real years ahead. Take care of your body. It is the only home you have.